And so when you combine what you're seeing from Houston, as far as the quarterback not throwing, they got issues along the offensive line, a reshuffled offensive line. Man, this situation in Houston offensively worries me.
Everyone was freaking out about C.J. Stroud not throwing at OTAs due to shoulder soreness, general shoulder soreness to be specific, / perhaps a pectoral injury. It seems everyone's collective freak out to that was unnecessary because guess who was throwing at OTAs today? Excuse me, at Houston Texans mandatory minicamp today. It was C.J. Stroud. Does this mean that everything is 100%? Not necessarily. But I think that we can now pause and stop worrying about whether or not this guy's going to be good to go. How did he get hurt? We got a little more clarity from that on Sports Sunday on Channel 2 with Randy McIlvoy and Big Sarge Sports, along with Aaron Wilson of Channel 2. Here's what Wilson, their Houston Texans insider and one of the more plugged-in insiders when it comes to NFL news, had to say about Stroud Sunday night.
Care about us? They not in that sense care about us generally. Don't care about our opinion of CJ and his shoulder. And it's still, it's just a connective thing. It's muscles in the shoulder. And it was exacerbated by weightlifting combined with throwing. And that's what led to this situation. It is not a big deal. He will be ready for training camp.
And now he's ready for mandatory minicamp. He threw today. As far as I can tell, his shoulder did not see his arm fall out of it. I'm not a doctor. And, of course, the Houston Texans are going to be very coy when it comes to talking about injuries. But it seems the collective freak out and the amount of people who are acting concerned about C.J. Stroud are now going to have to find some new content when it comes to news coming out of Houston Texans off-season news. They're going to have to find content elsewhere. I'm looking at you, Damian Woody, yesterday on NFL Live.
Hey, Graz, when the last time the Houston Texans played a game? Back in January, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They haven't played a game since January. And your quarterback's not throwing in the offseason? No contact? To me, that's red flags everywhere. I know that's the team's job. The team's job is to downplay these type of things. But when your quarterback is not throwing the ball in off-season workouts, I'm sorry. Like that throws up red flags for me. And so when you combine what you're seeing from Houston, as far as the quarterback not throwing, they got issues along the offensive line, a reshuffled offensive line. Man, this situation in Houston offensively worries me.
This time of year, everyone that's covering the league from a national perspective is looking for content wherever they can find it. So C.J. Stroud not throwing at OTAs, which certainly is unusual, became something that allowed people to talk about the Houston Texans nationally for a change. So that's at least neato. If you are the way that I used to be, watching ESPN, waiting for my favorite team to be mentioned, that's what it was like back in the day. You had to sit back and wait for your favorite team to be discussed on SportsCenter. Couldn't go on the internet to look up what happened. No, you had to wait at night for SportsCenter to talk about your favorite team.
Surely they'll get to the NL Central here after the commercial break.
And they had teases going into the commercial breaks, and you're wondering, wait, is this when they're finally going to show the Red Sox highlights? Is this when they're finally going to touch on the Patriots offseason news? It sucked. So I empathize with the NFL content creators and talking heads and blabbers and all that stuff. You're looking for something, but right now, guess what? That was a whole lot of nothing. Nothing. And you were acting like you were concerned. I'm concerned about what's going on with the Texans. Did you have a futures bet on them? Why are you concerned? That's the fun one that I've seen a lot of. I'm concerned about it. No, you aren't. You're concerned that there's nothing to talk about and that you didn't save yourself enough vacation days to go and leave the country this time of year so you didn't have to talk about this stupid crap. This is fill-in time for the national talking heads. This is when the fill-ins come in and ESPN tries to see if they found a diamond in the rough. This is when Jason McIntyre's sitting in for Colin Cowherd, making people drive off the road because they can't stand his takes. This is that time of year. I'm concerned. Save it. I'm concerned. And I saw a lot of that out there locally as well. I wasn't. Could I have been concerned in July and in training camp? Sure. Could I have been concerned in the regular season? Also sure. But people talking about concern and fear at this time of year, fart noise. That's what I think it is. Now, as far as anything that I want to see at Houston Texans minicamp, these are the only things I'm curious about. These are also BS practices. Generally, they even cancel the third mandatory minicamp practice. That's at least how the Texans have operated the last couple of years. But they could be losing out on valuable reps. Takes I used to have. I'll admit it, I used to be a part of this. You get away from working on a football station, a football team's flagship station. You realize, oh yeah, I am creating urgency because my boss is telling me to create urgency. I'm not forcing it, not mandating it, but I'm creating a sense of urgency. There's none of that this time of year, but this is what I am intrigued by when it comes to the Texans at minicamps. Is Stroud at all limited? How nagging is the pain? Is he even going to talk about it? I know that he did speak with the media, and we'll react to some of what he had to say later in the show. What offensive line rotation is getting the most reps? That is kind of interesting. It at least gives you a barometer of what the Texans' offensive line, at least in the eyes of D'Amico Ryans and their offensive line coach, Cole Popovich, in the eyes of Nick Caserio, it gives them an idea of what they want the offensive line to be, what they think the offensive line should be. But things could change between now and the end of training camp due to injuries, due to random signings that happen in August. But that is also intriguing to me. I'm not excited about it. I am curious to know if any rookie wide receivers are getting first-team reps. Is Jaden Higgins going to get any looks? Jalen Noel, the two Iowa State kids? Because I know it's Nico Collins, number one. I know it's Christian Kirk, number two. And after that, who's in the best shape? Who's in the worst shape?